to speak to you about the challenges of law and policies as they relate to violence against women. They provide the foundation to address this issue. The good news is that there are now a number of laws and policies here in Nigeria, and they should send a strong message that violence against women will not be tolerated. However, implementation of these laws have often been a challenge, as majority of women and girls are not aware of these laws or policies or where to seek justice when subject to violence. As traditional and religious leaders, you have an important role in raising awareness and, importantly, helping women and girls in your communities in getting the necessary help from the police, court, and legal aid providers. It is critical that women and girls subject to violence obtain justice and that there is no impunity for perpetrators of violence. As UNDP, we are pleased to partner in the Spotlight project funded by the European Union and implemented by the United Nations system. Together, we'll address the issue surrounding violence against women.
Traditional and religious leaders have an important role to play in helping to end gender-based violence in society. As opinion leaders and as custodians of cultural values, they wield a lot of influence over large segments of the population. As such, it is imperative that our royal fathers and religious leaders join forces with the government of Nigeria, with civil society organizations, including women's organizations, with the media and other key stakeholders, to root out this menace from society and to uphold and defend the rights of women and girls, to enable them to contribute fully to the development of Nigeria.
The role of traditional leaders in Nigeria is part and parcel of the custom and the social fabric and history of this great country. Where it comes to violence against children and gender-based violence, the traditional leaders have a very important role to play, to take action, to engage, and to speak out. They are there in the communities. They can take action and address where there's violence against children, where there's gender-based violence in the communities in which they are part of. They can engage with the communities, ensure that information is exchanged amongst the community members across the spectrum, for men to prevent them from gender-based violence and violence against children, and to women and girls especially about the perils and the problems that gender-based violence and violence against children perpetrated upon them. They can also speak out. They have the weekly altar or mosque. They have the times where they have the floor, as indeed today is a very good opportunity for them to speak out about girl child going to school until the age of 18 so that she can fully end her education and aspire to a better future, a future that she's in control of, not to be married at the age of 13 or 14 and then have no future, or a future that is constrained by the institution of marriage and she's unable to develop as a person in her own right. To the traditional leaders of today, and for all of you who are in this seminar, gender-based violence and violence against children is a scar on all our lives, all societies globally. It's made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic that has kept us at home, stopped us walking around, and prevented some institutions from actually protecting children, protecting women who have violence perpetrated against them. So now, more than ever before, we ask you, the traditional leaders, to take action to help the communities, to police the communities, to ensure that gender-based violence and violence against children is reduced to a minimum. Where it happens, that steps are taken to address the situation, not only to protect the children or the women, but also to take the perpetrators to through the necessary steps and to court if required.
So traditional and religious leaders play a critical role in ending harmful practices and gender-based violence against women and girls. In the communities where we work, they are the gatekeepers. They're the ones who are interpreting and engaging with the communities in order to explain and progress the development, in order to make sure that the community understand that it is acceptable and indeed needed to end harmful practices and gender-based violence. The message that we in UNFPA and in the Spotlight Initiative would really like to send to traditional and religious leaders is that we cannot do this alone. You play a critical role in how we end harmful practices. When you speak up against gender-based violence and harmful practices, you are the ones who can help us to make change happen. When you speak up using your position in the community, you enable women and girls to access essential services when they've been exposed to gender-based violence. You make it possible for them to come into facilities to go through safe deliveries, have assisted deliveries. When you speak up, you save the lives of women and girls, and we're grateful for the support you're going to give us.
And it is my pleasure today to deliver this message based on our work in the framework of the Spotlight Initiative in Nigeria. Gender-based violence happens because one person chooses to exercise power and control over another person. In our society today, men and women are not yet equal. More value is placed on men than on women, and as long as there is an imbalance of power between men and women, gender-based violence will continue. In order to end all forms of violence against women and girls in Nigeria, UNESCO, in the framework of the Spotlight Initiative and O3 projects, will continue to support the promotion of gender equality and work on bridging the gaps in women and girls' education through continuous collaboration with the government of Nigeria, other sister agencies, civil society organizations, traditional and religious leaders who are the gatekeepers. Gender-based violence is not a private issue. It affects families, communities, and the entire country, and negatively impact the overall development of the country. Let us work together with local authorities and policymakers to create communities that are violence-free, more peaceful, and where women and girls are more respected and promoted.